It is said that one who chooses God is chosen by God. So who chooses whom we do not know, where it begins? It's God who wants the devotee or the devotee who wants God. But that's besides the matter. The important thing is that if you have chosen God at some point in time in your life, it means you have been chosen by God. It can't be any other way. Sometimes we think we make our way to God, we make our way to a guru, we make our way to a sacred place because somebody introduced us to them or somebody took us there, or by chance we ended up in such a place with such people. But there are no chances in life. Everything is a choice. And the choice is made by you at some point in time, if not in this lifetime, in another lifetime somewhere, to choose God over all else. And the moment that soul thought of God and chose God, that is the very moment God chose you. But the time to meet each other, to be with each other, again it comes to everyone in their own way. So the beauty of this relationship is that it was never one choosing the other, it was both choosing it together. And that's the beauty of this relationship. I was in Singapore and I attended a Catholic wedding. And in the wedding, in Catholic ceremonies, you have both the bride and the groom standing next to each other, facing each other. And then the priest says whatever he has to say, and then they both choose each other. It's not about bride choosing the groom or groom choosing the bride. Both happens together. So this eternal bond between God and devotee is something that has happened together. It was never one before the other. But its manifestation in our life may happen several lifetimes later, when the time is right. As he said, the seed was sown, but it sprouts when the season is right. So when ultimately in your heart that seed of love for God sprouts, you must know that the season has come. When you think of God and you only crave for God and you only want and love God above everything else, nothing else is as important as God to you, you know that the season has arrived. And you must pay attention to that. But the truth is that if you go to India, you see, you get different kinds of gods. Most of you have gone to India. You see a temple called Ananta Padmanabha temple in Kerala. It's one of the very, very rich temples. Still there are rooms that have not been opened. It's already, the wealth is in billions of dollars. That god is always sleeping. So you find a sleeping god over there. If you go to Ayyappa temple on top of the hill, again in Kerala, you'll find a sitting god there. He sits all the time. Then if you go to the recently inaugurated Ayodhya temple or Tirupati temple, you'll see a standing god over there. All the time he's standing. He never sits, never sleeps. Then when you went to Puttaparthi, you saw a walking god over there, a walking and talking god. But when you come here, you find a working god. So you want easier gods? Go to the sleeping, sitting, standing, at best walking and talking. But if you come to this, then this is a working god. God also works and devotees also work. But for what sake? For what sake? And the mantra is very simple. It's from Rig Veda. Atmano mokshartham jagat hitaya cha. Simple Sanskrit. Atma means myself. Mokshartham means for liberation. So for my own liberation, Jagat means the world, Hitaya means welfare, Cha, and. So, and for the welfare of the world. So why do we work? We work for our own emancipation and the welfare of all. So when we serve others, when we work for others selflessly, we are getting purified as human beings and we are turning more into our divine selves. And all these wheels and all those masks are falling off. And it's revealing our true identity. And that's what is happening every time we serve, every time we meet somebody, every time we sacrifice for somebody. We're seeing our reflection, our own selves in them. And that is the idea of emancipation of oneself, when you see everything as you. And Jagat Hitaya, welfare of the world, naturally happens because you feel for others the same way as you feel for yourself. And you feel for your kith and kin, like in the kinship festival. Then the world also is looked after. Welfare of the world is looked after. So it's a two sides of the same coin. When you do good work, On one side, you get better as a human being, you become closer to your divine self. On the other side, the world also gets better and gets closer to its divinity. So it happens together, not separately. I was there last night in an event organized by one of the good friends of Gary. He invited a lot of new people who are not used to us. He told me one thing at the end of the whole session, a lot of questions and answers. At the end, he told, these Australians need to hear this language. They don't get to hear this at all. This idea about one's emancipation, the idea about the welfare of all, this idea about divinity, this idea about realization, these are not the things that are often spoken in Australian circles. And therefore, it's important that somebody speaks. And I said, yes, I not just speak, but I ensure that you also follow what I am telling you. I don't leave you just there. So God is within each one of us. But how is He present within each one of us? He is present as the witness of everything that we do. This is the idea of that consciousness, witness consciousness, we say. To be conscious, to be aware of whatever it is. Whether we are sad or happy, there is something in us which is aware of it. And it's different from the sadness and happiness. Once a saint was there in Himalayas, so an old man, a man of the world, you see a lot of problems they have. He went to the saint and said, Swamiji, I'm very, very sad. Then the Swamiji, who was in meditation, he opened his eyes and said, inquire, who is sad? I am sad. Inquire again, who is sad? And then this man sat and thought, who is sad in me? And then he realized his mind is sad because of various things that have happened. But he, who is the consciousness, the spirit, cannot be sad or happy. So he became very happy and he went back to the Swamiji and said, Swamiji, I have discovered that I am not sad anymore, I am happy. And Swamiji said, inquire, who is happy? Who is happy? Your mind is happy now. But you are beyond both. You are like that electricity which flows into all these things, all these equipments and devices and gadgets. It neither becomes light, nor becomes wind, nor becomes heat or cold. It is electricity. But when it interacts with the various objects, it takes a different form and quality. Likewise, the awareness consciousness, the witness consciousness is just neutral. It has no qualities in it. But when it interacts with people or situations that are favorable, it feels happiness. And when the opposite happens, it feels unhappy. So this happiness, unhappiness is all the duality which exists in the mind. The real witness consciousness is beyond that. So people asked me, how do you feel when you realize this, that you are the witness consciousness? And the general idea in the Upanishads is, such a person becomes full of ananda. A lot of people name themselves as Ananda, hoping that they will be actually full of happiness. Ananda, they say. They become Ananda, full of Ananda. So they asked me, do you experience Ananda? How does it feel like that? I said, what do you think Ananda is? He said, it's supreme happiness. Absolutely infinite, deep, eternal happiness. I said, what do you mean by all these words? Eternal, infinite. No, other happinesses come and go, you see. You eat something nice, you're happy. You don't get to eat, you get sad. Or you do something, you succeed, you're happy. But these happinesses come and go. But Ananda is happiness which stays forever. I said, this is all written in the scriptures and for the sake of encouraging you. Because how would a child know what it is to taste a sweet unless he has at least tasted a piece of it? The one who has never eaten an ice cream, how would he know what an ice cream is like? So you can tell ice cream is a very sweet and cold and a nice thing. And give him a piece of it or a taste of it, then he knows. So our rishis were very, very clever. They only knew that all people want happiness. So what is the way to motivate them to realize self? By telling that is infinite happiness. That is like a huge tub of ice cream. Not just one candy or not just one scoop of it. This is a big, big tub of ice cream. It's like an ice cream factory, all you can say. So kids get excited. Oh, really? I can go to the factory. I can eat as much ice cream as I want. Yes, infinite ice cream. So our rishis have presented the idea of self-realization as a supreme happiness. But actually it is neither happiness nor sadness. It is a neutral state of existence. Because there is no sadness over there, it can never be touched by sadness, so it is called as a blissful state. What is happiness? Absence of sadness. What is infinite happiness? Absence of infinite sadness. So the way it has been presented is to encourage people to crave for it, to strive for it, by saying that happiness lasts forever. But what they're actually saying, there is no sadness there forever. That's what they're trying to tell you. But if they tell you you will reach a state where there is no sadness, doesn't sound very encouraging and appealing. But if you say you will reach a state, there is absolute happiness, that's a positive way of putting things. So it's basic psychology that the rishis have used to encourage people. It can also be told in another way. Suppose I tell you, may you never be sick. Is that a good thought? Or if I bless you, may you always be healthy. What sounds better? May you always be healthy. When I say may you never be sick, the first thought comes to you is that, oh, there is something called sickness. And that's a painful experience. And Swami is saying I should not be sick. It means I might be sick. I might get sick. All kinds of ideas trouble us. But the moment I say, may you always be healthy, somehow you feel very comforted. I will never be sick. And now you don't focus on the sickness part so much as you focus on the health part of it and the happiness that comes out of health. So rishis have presented this idea of bliss or ananda in a positive way, but actually all that it means is that it is a state of a neutral existence where you don't have any fluctuations. More so, you don't have fluctuations of sadnesses. None of these sadnesses touch you there. Therefore, you are always happy. It's not that you are happy, therefore you are not sad. It's because there is nothing called sadness. When you light a candle, the darkness disappears on its own. What is light? Absence of darkness. What is warmth? Absence of cold. What is happiness? Absence of sadness. So what is supreme happiness? Absence of absolute sadness. That's all it is actually at the end. But when I tell this to people that is what it is, because so much has been built around it, and they say Americans are very good at marketing and Australians are getting there, but Indians were way, way, way ahead of all of them. They marketed spirituality in such a positive way that you will be supremely happy, absolutely happy. But what they were actually trying to tell you was, in that state of existence, you will not experience sadness. That's all they are trying to say. So would sad things not happen around you? They will happen. Spirituality is not a guarantee of no problems, no issues, no difficulties, no failures, no nothing. No, it simply says all that will happen. But you don't feel it. You don't feel it. You feel distance from it because you settle yourself in that witness consciousness state. And everything else is happening is like you're shielded from it, as if there is some kind of a distance between what is happening and what you are. And therefore problems will happen, sickness will happen, failures will happen, tragedies will happen. Yet you remain steady, you don't get affected by it. That is self-realization, that is spirituality. Every other definition is just a nice way of putting it so that it encourages more people, just to incentivize them. So rishis have tried to incentivize us by saying, you are always running away from sadness. You are always running towards happiness. But there is a place, there is a state, there is an existence where you're going to be absolutely happy forever. And all they're trying to say is that you won't feel any sadness forever. This is the idea of self-realization. So ananda is a word which is beyond nanda and ananda. Nanda means joy. Ananda means sadness. Ananda is beyond sadness and joy. Shanti means peace. Ashanti is no peace. Prashanti is beyond peace and no peace. So this is the beauty of our self-realization. It doesn't promise you some license or some guarantees in life that don't worry, you'll always succeed, therefore you'll be always happy. Don't worry, you'll always have good people around you, therefore you'll always be happy. Don't worry, you will always be rich and wealthy and never sick, therefore you'll always be happy. No, it says all these may happen around you. Yet you'll end up being happy only. Because none of these affect you anymore, none of these touch you. So when you look at many of these people's lives and you feel, oh, what a tragic life they had, such Ramana Maharshi was there, he died of cancer. Nisargadatta Maharaj was there, he died of cancer. Even Ramakrishna Paramahamsa died of cancer. So also so many great ones died sick. But they were beyond all these things. They're beyond all this. Therefore they could go through it without getting affected by it. So this is the spirituality I teach. So I don't want to sugarcoat it and make it very palatable. This is what yesterday asked me that man, John, that, why are you called Sadguru? What is the difference between Guru and Sadguru? I told Sadguru means the one who speaks truth, the bitter truth, not sugar-coated truth. Sugar-coated truths are spoken by just gurus who want disciples, they want to gather some crowd around themselves. But I speak the truth even if it's bitter. I don't sugarcoat it. And I only guarantee you that state of existence where you're not affected by these motions of life. All that will happen, but you remain unaffected. That is the state I guarantee you. That is the state I ask you to attain. No other guarantees. So this is what is the difference between the sleeping gods, sitting gods, standing gods, walking, talking gods, and working gods. I'm working on what? I'm working on you. I'm always working on you. You may not realize, but if you have ever in your heart chosen me, you have already been chosen. And once you get chosen, I am relentless. Till you actually become what you are born to become. Now the process goes on and on. It may happen in this lifetime, many lifetimes later. In different names and forms, we'll keep reappearing till we have achieved what we are born to achieve. So this is an endless process till it ends in this ultimate state of existence. And this is what I keep doing. So if you're still getting a lot of work to do, it means you are not there yet. So don't blame me. Blame yourself. If you achieve that, then why will I trouble you with anything? And in fact, even after that, even if I tell you to do things, you are never troubled because it never affects you. Never affects you. It always is an existence which is untouched, uncontaminated, unpolluted, untainted by any of these emotions. That is the idea. In fact, one of the Upanishads we are going to learn during Guru Purnima is Isha Upanishad. Yes, there is a path of action and there is a path of knowledge. But what I am talking about lies beyond both, it says. It is a state that exists beyond rewards and punishments, beyond merits and sins, beyond good and bad and pleasures and pains. It exists beyond all of it, it says. So that is the idea that we are trying to pursue. And that is why as a guru or as a Sadguru, it's my job to keep teaching it and repeating it and kind of encouraging you to continuously walk. So I am not for those who are here to get, some petty favors of the world. That may happen, may not happen. If it's good for your good growth, spiritual growth, yes, it will happen. Like some child who's not learning at all, is very put off by low marks. Sometimes the teachers, just to encourage the child, give him an extra mark, grace marks, just to encourage the child to move forward, even if the child does not deserve it. The teacher knows in his wisdom that this is the only way to encourage the child to study. Likewise, gurus may give you an extra mark here and there or some grace marks, but that's only to encourage you on this path. So once you succeed in some matters in life and you consider it or attribute it to Guru's grace, these are those grace marks that Guru is giving so that you keep walking. Every time you meet with a failure, naturally you will be very disillusioned. So he keeps giving you a few successes here and there which you can enjoy and keep walking on this path. But the idea is that ultimately if you're a real seeker, you don't seek anything. The real seeker seeks nothing. The fake seekers only seek other things. The real seeker just submits himself or herself to the Guru's chiseling and stays. That's it. Like a piece of stone that offers itself to the sculptor. And whatever he does out of it, he chisels it, cuts it, polishes it, it's his choice. So the stone does not come seeking to become an idol of God and be worshipped in the temples. It simply submits itself in surrender. And then Guru takes over and does what he needs to do. So that is the idea. When a soul submits himself or chooses God and is chosen by God, this is what it means. You simply have submitted yourself to that divine decree. Now it's up to the divine what he does, when he does, how much he does not do. It's up to the divine. Who are we to say, to speak to me in 3 months or 3 years or 30 years or even 3 lifetimes? There's nobody. We just simply wait. Simply wait in surrender and submission. And the divine knows what is the right time, what is the right season. So all seeds won't sprout in the same seasons, all trees won't flower or bear fruits in the same season. Likewise, we all are different, but the guru, the gardener, the sculptor knows. So being able to submit, choose God and submit oneself to God with absolute totality, not holding anything back for yourself, is the way of the true seeker. Otherwise, seekers are nobody. Seekers, they seek other things, including self-realization. There's no seeking at all required. Because you are already that which you seek, isn't it? That's the whole philosophy. You already are that. So you are basically trying to unbecome. And that's a process. And who knows that? The sculptor knows that, how much of stone needs to be chipped away. And how strong or how intense should be the strike of the hammer or the chisel. He knows. So when I tell people, when you are getting closer to God and closer to your divine self, what's going to happen to you? A few things will happen. If these things are happening to you, you should actually pat yourself on your back. That, I'm getting closer to the divinity. What happens? One, you lose taste for all sundry and paltry and petty things in life. They don't entice you, excite you as they used to do anymore. You have it, you're okay. You're not having it, also is okay. Something that was so very important to you, they are no more important to you. They seem just ordinary like anything else. Whether it's wealth, whether it's a position, whether it's success, whether it's relationships, whether it's some other material things, whether it's your own idea of successes and failures, whatever it, you somehow become very, in a way, immune to things like this. If it's there, good. If it's not there also, you're okay. You don't insist, you don't persist, you don't cry over those things. Nor you get excited about things that you have suddenly got. So the childlike behavior, you see, goes away. That happens to you when you mature spiritually. What else happens to you when you mature spiritually? Your circle of people will start shrinking. Because not everybody can understand you anymore. You'll find that while you might be surrounded by a crowd, you feel the solitude there in the crowds. And that's why some people cannot make sense out of you. They don't understand what's exactly going on. You can't explain either. Because it's not possible to explain your state of things. But then you accept it. So your circle of whom you call as your close friends, relations starts shrinking. And a new circle starts forming around you. And the whole thing gets replaced over a period of time. And that's a scary thing because we are very insecure when we lose things of people whom we are so familiar with or so used to. But that is the process. And that happens to you. Then what happens to you? Suddenly you will see your problems are multiplying instead of reducing. And then you will say, why did I even come to this guru? Let us change the guru. Ever since I have come to him, it seems like my problems are just growing and growing. And once in a while there is some little success, one silver lining in one dark cloud. Otherwise, most of the time it's raining, thundering and noisy, cold. But you know that you're getting closer because he's testing your ability to remain equanimous. The small problems, you have learned how to be equanimous. You can handle that. Then he gives you a bigger challenge and a bigger challenge till he tests you thoroughly and finds out that yes, he's or she's ready. She's ready for the ultimate. Till then it goes on. So welcome challenges. Welcome problems. Don't even look at them as problems. It's like kids, when they play video games. That's what they were telling me. That they play a lot of video games, they'll watch a lot of TV, and they're honestly telling me. So they're not lying. But what is a video game, I tell her? What is the excitement of the video game, you tell me? Your levels of challenges keep going up, right? That's when you get excited, that's when you're happy. Level 1, now you're so bored, you just do it like this. Level 2, slightly difficult, but you have done it many times, now you know how to do it. Level 3, 4, 5. And they get excited, they share with you, what, I crossed level 5 in this particular game. Which level are you in? And they say, I'm in level 6, level 7. They're excited about taking up challenges. But we elders are very scared of challenges. We want things to remain as they are. We don't want any more challenges in life. We think that's enough. But then Guru is not done. He says that there are more levels to cross. And so difficulties will come. But every time a difficulty comes, something inside you an alarm should go off. Look, my Guru is working on me. He has paid attention to my spiritual evolution because he has sent a challenge my way. He's working on me. I should get excited. You should get happy that my Guru has not forgotten me. I'm not kept away in the cold storage. I'm very much in his mind. And he's working on me. Look at another challenge that's coming my way. He's checking on me. So you should become happy. And you should thank the Guru that you are still keeping an eye on my progress and you're working on me. Thank you for being there around me, for me. You should thank Guru. But most of the people don't thank me. But that is the process of the Guru. Because if you're really serious about your self-realization, this is all going to happen. And ultimately what happens at some point of time, it's a very, very, very deep thing that I'm telling you. You feel you don't need a Guru. Your Guru becomes irrelevant, obsolete, useless to you. Not out of anger that, he's a terrible Guru, he doesn't help me at all. All these stages once you cross, then you reach a stage when you say, I don't need a Guru. I'm sufficient unto myself. I'm experiencing that joy, that equanimity, that calm, that peace. I don't need somebody to validate it for me. I'm good by myself. And then you don't have to run from pillar to post, seeking spiritual validations, that you are actually growing spiritually. You don't need any of these. So that stage will come when you don't need a Guru. That's the time I know that I've succeeded in what I tried to do. Because I've made myself irrelevant to you now. That is the idea of being truly, truly, truly successful. See, when you graduate, you don't need your teacher anymore. If you still need your teacher, it means you haven't graduated. So you will reach a stage when you say, I don't need a Guru. Yeah, it's not that you don't want to look at my face anymore, not like that. But it's like, you know it, that the grace is there with me. I don't need some physical affirmations, or as I said, validations, confirmations. I don't need any of those. I understand it within myself. I know what I know. So you reach that stage. Then what happens? Then I invite you to help some more people. Somebody asked me the other day in the message, somebody sent me, Swami, I'm so sad to have disappointed you because something they did not do it right. When will I become you? When will I be able to exactly do what you want me to do? He asked. I said, I'm very happy that you thought like this, that the only way to help me is to become me. Anything less than that is not a help to me at all. So you have to be the same as the Guru. And that sameness is our witness consciousness. That's where we are same. Otherwise we are all different. The oneness is only at the very base, fundamental level. All others are different things. We are not same. We like different things, we eat different things, wear different things and everything. And there's nothing wrong in that. But deep down. And as I said, the more challenges come your way, send me a thank you note. Not a complaint. Thank you for sending another challenge. I am so happy to know that you still remember me. You haven't forgotten me. That's it. I'll be so happy. I'll be so happy. Here is the right disciple who is now growing to become me, slowly and steadily. So take those little steps. That will happen. Everybody's birthright is to know this truth. Nobody should deny you unless you deny yourself. Nobody can deny this to you. So we are very lucky. See, if we come to know of a person, see, it's one thing you come across a descent. It's one thing. It's very lucky. It's, of course, you lived with Rama or Jesus or Krishna or somebody. It's an honor. It's an amazing blessing. But very little we have learned from the descents. Most of the spirituality happened when people came across ascensions. Most of these gurus who grew up from ordinary ranks to the ranks of those realized ones, they have inspired more people around the world to walk this path. Because it's relatable. You present the idea of a perfect God to people, they'll put him on a pedestal and say, that's not for us. That's God, this is us. But you take an ordinary person who also makes mistakes like you and learns from it and grows to the ranks of a spiritual master, is very relatable. It feels like, okay, we can also do this. Maybe a little difficult, but yes, possible. But when the moment you say this is a descended master, this come from heaven, it's come like an avatar, most of us are happy, are inspired, are joyful, or encouraged, but sometimes we are not able to relate to that. Because that idea, that definition is perfection. It's very difficult to compare notes. Whereas it's easy this way. So a lot of these masters, like I was mentioning, like Ramana Maharshi, Nisargadatta, we shall not debate whether they were descents or ascents or whatever, but they were very relatable, comparatively. And then they rose to those high ranks, and then it's easy for us to also to transcend. So what I want, because I've seen Australian devotees are very, very, very deep in their understanding of spirituality. I know that you have transcended those little, survival issues. Maybe there are issues, I'm not saying they're not, but they're not as fundamental or basic as many other people. So you can think of something higher sometimes. And that's why I'm talking to you in this way. Not just telling you some story from some scripture and passing time. I'm seriously addressing you that if you are a seeker, then submit yourself to the great sculptor that the Guru is. And he knows when to strike whom, with what intensity and with what tenderness. Which part of the stone must be chipped away today and what has to be kept for another day. He knows. But when it happens to you and you face situations where you think this is beyond you, this is a challenge that is beyond your capacity to handle, you only know that you are getting promoted to the next level in the video game of life. Getting there slowly. And you should only thank the Guru, thank God that you have been chosen to rise, to go to the next level. And that is what is progress. And ultimately you will reach a state again where you are untouched by any of these emotions, sadness or happiness. See, you develop this very beautiful ability to hold yourself in that position where it does not affect you anymore. That is the ability that you will develop. So what it looks like on this side of the things, it is happiness because there is no effect of sadness on you. It is peace because there is no effect of chaos on you. It is joy because there is no effect of pain on you. So that's all it is at this side of things. It's not something which is going to multiply your experience of happiness or diminish your experience of sadness. None of these really exist. This is the truth. This is the fundamental truth. I was writing the third part of the story, Divine. It's all about the spiritual side, because first part is all about the early days and how this all began. The second part is the expansion, which is so much about work, all the projects and people and tours and travels. But the third part is a very small one, actually. I tried to write, but I'm not able to write more than a certain number of sentences. So I said, for now, this is all it is. And when more happens, I will let you know. But for now, that's all it is. It's a small portion, but every sentence is explosive spiritually. You have to understand the depth of it. Because so much is contained within few words. So this is where I was writing, and that is why I was thinking that, what should I tell the world about what I've experienced? Should I tell them that I simply transferred into some kind of a ethereal state of, some excitement or some kind of joy, like they have imagined because of the stories they've heard of masters who go off into samadhi, the eyeballs roll up and then they lose their consciousness, fall on the floor. Should I tell them that that is what happens at that point in time? Will that excite them? Or should I tell them you develop some superpowers, you can transcend time, space, you can get into people's minds, you understand what's happening there, what is the future, you can predict precisely who is going to be the next prime minister. Will that excite them? Will that encourage them to walk on this path? Should I tell them all this? Or should I tell them that once you become this, you will have so many followers who will worship you and put your photos in their altars and you suddenly become a popular spiritual figure in the world? What should I tell them? I was thinking. I should tell them the truth. And truth is what I am saying. Witness consciousness is the truth, in which none of these emotions exist. Your bliss does not get intensified by 1,000,000 times like our Upanishads say. The bliss of Brahman is 10 to the power 20 times the bliss of an ordinary man. That's how they compare it. 10 to the power 20. But that's all just the way of saying. The truth is, you become absolutely neutral. Anytime you draw yourself like a tortoise draws itself into its shell, you draw yourself into that state of witness consciousness, you're unaffected. But if you come out of it, again you get affected. Again you withdraw into that consciousness, you become unaffected. So, does the person of a spiritual realization always stay in the state of witness consciousness? Not necessarily. He also comes back, interacts with the world, but when he's interacting, he's dealing with things like the electricity is getting hot in the oven or cool in the air conditioner. It also experiences, his consciousness experiences the motions of the world. But when it becomes overwhelming or when it becomes, disinteresting, quickly he can withdraw. And therefore he can be in that state of absolute nothingness. And when he wants to come back again to act in the world, because I am also a teacher, suppose I did not have the job of a teacher, I could just withdraw and stay in my own space. But I have a job at hand, which is to help more people realize. And that is why I have to come back and act in the world. When I act in the world, then I have to go through some of those emotions. But then it's easy to withdraw and then again be yourself. This is the ability you develop. It's very spontaneous, very effortless then. So that is what you can gain out of this spiritual realization. I hope I have not scared the people away from the spiritual path. That, if you get more challenges, more difficulties, be grateful, be joyful. That God is still He's keeping the promise. He has chosen you and He's keeping that promise of being with you. And He's trying to develop you into a better human being. Ultimately the divine, where nothing matters. Because that's the absolute state of nothingness or everythingness, whichever way you want to present it. But that's where you will reach finally. That's the ultimate destination. And those who have watched this movie Kung Fu Panda, you have seen that movie? And I was watching because some people recommended that it's a very deep spiritual movie, they said. Their great master is going to come to redeem them all. There is a secret scroll. And you should get that scroll and there is a secret written there. And once you get that secret, you will be very powerful and then you can save the world or something like that. So this panda, who is very interested in becoming a great Kung Fu master, he tries to get the scroll. And after all the struggles, when the real crisis comes, the big devil or villain has come and is destroying everything. And he goes and somehow gets the scroll and opens it and there is nothing in it. He only sees a shiny, reflective paper in which he sees his own image like a mirror. And then he is dumbfounded and he looks around and says, what's this? I think the scroll somebody has stolen and replaced with some fake scroll. But his master, his guru tells him, no, this is the truth. You are the secret. There is no other secret that you will achieve after self-realization. There is nothing else. This is all it is. But it's been kept like that scroll secretly up somewhere to make you believe that there is something I need to achieve, I must reach there. But of course that process trains you to be a very good Kung Fu master. But at the end the secret is just your belief in yourself. This is the secret, it says. Same thing is about these scriptures. They may write in 100 different ways. This happens when you achieve that, samadhi happens, then different types of samadhis happen, nirvikalpa, savikalpa, or all kinds of samadhi. At the end what happens is this. Samadhis, all these are lower states of mind only. The moment you transcend the mind into the realms of witness consciousness, no emotions. That is the nature of that witness consciousness. Nirguna they call it, without any attributes or qualities. So there is no quality, it's absolute zeroness. This is what you will achieve when you continue on this path. Please continue. The most important part is please continue and don't give up. Because this is what we are here for. Everything else is secondary, immaterial, inconsequential actually. This is what matters. But I don't want you to lose the opportunity. I know how precious it is. Having experienced this, I know the value of this opportunity at this point in time. I keep telling the bars have been lowered. It's much easier now to cross over. And if this was the same as probably a couple of millennia before when we had other yugas, they were very difficult yugas. This is much easier. So just do it now than wait for another lifetime. All these things may not come together. Being in a time like this, part of a mission like this, being guided continuously like this, it would be very difficult. If you miss a turn here, I don't know how long we'll have to go and round and come back to this road again. So just don't miss the turn. As I said, many gurus have been much harsher than me, but I am very kind, comparatively. And I that you should know that, even if you think I am not. I really, genuinely believe that. I let everybody know this truth. Let they all have that experience of absolute nothingness, so that they are not affected by anything in life, and they are able to help others too. This I genuinely believe is a good thing to do. So these other things, mission work, all these are, as I said, the second part of the equation. Atmano Mokshartham is the first part, to redeem oneself. And welfare of the world is the second part that happens.